Welcome to a new Daily Top Askreddit video. Today's topic.
What is a secret fantasy you believe is more common than people are willing to admit? Riding in a bulldozer across a large parking lot and smashing all the cars. I think most people would openly admit to this, they just don't know this is something they want, me included. Hear me out. Start a demolition company. Then instead of regular employees you have people pay you to drive a bulldozer into a single-family home that's been condemned. I firmly believe every dude growing up had a specific, die-hard, type plan for when terrorists inevitably showed up at your school. I'd get shot, but I would survive and my crush would finally like me. She'd patch you up while the sexual tension builds. To leave their life behind and start new somewhere else. Speaking as someone who's done it, it's awesome. The first time was when I was a kid. I grew up in an awful family. Just terrible. Terrible people, terrible situation. All of it. Bad. One day, at the beginning of the year in high school, an older kid came into our social studies class to talk about his year abroad as a foreign exchange student. I don't remember anything he said, because it instantly clicked with me. Oh, wow. I can be sent away for a year. I spent a few months competing just to get in the program. I think around 40 students were selected out of a huge tri-state area with hundreds of applicants. Getting away from my family for a year was like a revelation. Life doesn't suck. It was my situation that sucked. When I returned home, after my year abroad, I knew what I had to do. Finish high school, get into college somewhere far away. Never look back. I'm middle-aged now. Once every decade or so, someone from my childhood will get in touch, and it's always the same. They're still miserable, still fighting, still stuck. I can't even relate to that. My life hasn't been perfect, but it's been filled with so much joy because that's the kind of life I want to live. If you want to live a happy life, start by figuring out what you really want, really want. Is it realistic? If it's not, what's the closest you can get, realistically? If it is realistic, what steps do you have to take to get there? The reason I mention being realistic is because I'm legally blind. There are obviously a lot of things that just aren't realistic for me. And that's fine. Accepting that doesn't mean lowering my expectations. It means focusing on what you can do, rather than what you can't. Figure out what you want out of life. Make a plan to get from where you are to where you want to be. Don't be surprised if it takes a few months to come up with a plan. Don't be surprised if it takes a period of years to see it through. And most importantly, don't give up on yourself along the way. What do you want from life? What's your plan to get there? Go for it. 8 hours of sleep every night, and not feeling pressured to accomplish a million things on your day off. I just came. Can we just cuddle now? Oh, we have to go to Target and Trader Joe's. Sigh, okay. Heroically saving someone by being a badass. Like farting so badly terrorists die in the elevator. Exploring dangerous places, like Chernobyl, Egyptian tombs and abandoned buildings, e.g. old insane asylums, changed i.e. to e.g. jumping off a tall building and walking away unharmed. Aim for the bushes. There weren't even any bushes. Imagining yourself in a Matrix-style fight scene where you kick everyone's asses in slow motion. Planning for and imagining oneself living in a post-apocalyptic world. I'm a pessimist and have zero faith in my survival skills, so I'm convinced if, when an apocalypse happens, I'm dead. Bullet to my own head instead of to the zombies' heads. I'm with ya. BDSM scene is way more active than most folks seem to realize. It's an open secret at this point how many people enjoy some aspect of BDSM. I remember some study indicating it's the most common fetish, kink, etc. Part of that is just because BDSM itself is a super broad set of sexual interests though. Yeah, like who doesn't enjoy a power dynamic in bed lol. I think people's kinks would surprise a lot of people. I worked in an adult toy store and man, the most normal looking people would come in and buy the kinkiest shit father. It's like yeah that's right, Bill down the street who works in accounting like shoving metal tubes down his pee hole while wearing high heels. If I worked in accounting I'd probably stick things in my dick hole too. Every woman I've ever slept with, I had some very slutty years, at minimum begged me to pull their hair, spank them, use them, be rough. Then when I suggest tying them up they go absolutely primal. Almost nobody is actually vanilla. They just need someone they trust that can introduce them to more in the right way. Almost nobody is actually vanilla. And it's a real bummer when you're one of the few actually vanilla people. It's gotten to the point where I'm straight up scared to enter a sexual relationship and seriously consider dating asexual people so I don't have to worry about it. I don't want to end up with an adventurous person when all I can offer is vanilla. I don't want to deny someone the ability to live the best life. Pausing time and doing whatever you wanted for a bit. Pauses time during a 15-minute break at work and proceeds to sleep for 8 hours before going back to work. This is usually how my pausing time fantasy plays out, yep. As a musician, years ago I used to fantasize that I'd wake up one day and be the only person who remembered the Beatles or knew how to play their music. And I'd take the world by storm bringing their music to the masses. Then the movie Yesterday came out and I realized this was not a unique thing. I feel the same about the movie Chronicle. Haven't we all fantasized about being able to fly, or being able to move objects and then stunning everyone at the school talent show? Question mark. Being alone on a deserted island. In the same vein, having everyone else on Earth disappear. It's one of those weird things I end up thinking about sometimes when I'm bored. Running through what my hypothetical plan of action would be, just like how people imagine what they would do in a zombie apocalypse. Just don't break your glasses after you find the library. I don't believe a single human on Earth has never, at one point, tried to levitate something with their mind by staring very hard at it. We all kinda want Matilda powers. Punching their boss in the face. Hard. Everybody has a plan, until they get punched in the face. Mike Tyson. CNC. Got me there. I do secretly fantasize about CNC routers. I have no idea what I need a plasma cutter for, but I know I want a plasma cutter. 100% men and women, and usually both sides of it. Though the receiving is likely way more prevalent. I like this guy's Reddit handle. Does it work? I want to get boobs in my DM. I was dating a girl who told me she wanted to play the rape game when we had sex for the first time. I said, nah, and stopped dating her. But it did make me wonder how common that desire actually is. I was dating a girl who told me she wanted to play the rape game when we had sex for the first time. I said, nah, and she says, that's the spirit. Right call honestly. BDSM generally and CNC in particular aren't things you do without prior planning and a build-up of trust on both sides. For men, to die gloriously in battle or to give our life for someone in a badass way. Die gloriously in battle. I much prefer for the enemy to die gloriously in battle. Saving a bunch of kids from a burning bus type of glory. Free USE and CNC handshake. Literally every girl I have been with or talked to intimately is into this shit. It's actually kinda getting old. My unpopular opinion now that I'm older is that vanilla sex can be fucking phenomenal if you actually want the other person. Personally, I think healthy long-term couples should probably mix up the two things. Sometimes you go real kinky, sometimes you go full vanilla. You indulge the other person's fantasy and they indulge yours, but you also just enjoy seeing each other naked and having regular, vanilla sex out of love and attraction. Bottom line is that the person must turn you on and not just the fantasy scenario you're role-playing. That's how I live my relationship and I'm rather happy. Would recommend. Edit, phrasing. Same, when I was in my early 20s they were all into DDLG. Early 30s it's all rape fantasies and strangulation. I'm fucking tired, man. I just want to bang one woman once or twice a week and not have to work so go damned hard performing for their kinks. True. I'd love to have a CNC machine I could use for free. This is the true male fantasy. A machine shop all to myself for a day. I think it's gonna to get weird. VR plus AI could give people a healthy outlet for that, if it meets their needs. But you see time and time again these fetishes bleed into the real world with no consent for the kink itself. Example, I'm a guy, so I acknowledge that this is 100x worse for women. A one-night stand I had with a woman resulted in her trying to choke me on a couple of occasions. When I bucked her off me during the second time, she thought guys were into it, choking, and the non-consent aspect of it. I knocked out that night pretty quickly. So will those tools help people who can't find a kink partner, or will they blur the lines between CNC and the real world even more? I mean, there is already a healthy outlet for it called CNC. The first C is for consensual. Leaving society. The problem with this, as I've learned, is that it costs a lot of money to be a poor person, land, initial supplies, taxes, etc. I love this idea, but by the time I can actually afford it, I will be way too old to make it happen. Planning the perfect bank heist. Removed. Ah yes, I too fantasize about her yelling at your penis in Spanish. Weird, I only fantasize about yelling at your penis in Spanish. Levitate. Fucking your coworkers, friends, winking face. I mean I can't be the only one whose intrusive thoughts are way more sexual than violent. Definitely not alone. So many top answers here trending violent, I'm over here like, damn, I thought we all just wanted to fuck each other. IDK how to explain it any other way, but I want my back to be stretched out like how Mr. Incredible got stretched by the robot in the first movie. This has legitimately been my fantasy since I first saw the movie at 6 years old, and I'm so happy to see someone else put it in words. LMAO. Making that bully suffer. Revenge fantasies are my favorite. The urge to throw a glass paperweight, usually somewhat round shape, with full force onto someone or something. We had a glass coffee table when I was a kid. I just wanted to destroy that thing, just absolutely hurdle a rock through it. Being tied up, at least slightly. Geez, wasn't really expecting that in your profile. LMAO. Straight up full-fledged gooner right here. I am on a dating app for people looking for out of the ordinary stuff. Literally all women there want to be tied up in some way or another. What's the app? Christian Mingle. To give a non-joke answer, it might be Field. Owning and living in a store. Like you just roll up to Walmart, buy the whole store on the spot, and it's your new home. I've thought about fortifying a store during an apocalypse scenario.